was pretty amazing. Walking on, we went into like a conga line each country, and then they announced each flag bearer, it's called. And then they said my name. I was there with Rasmus and Frederick, and I thought that was pretty cool. I got to be the flag bearer or representative of Denmark. And then walking onto the stage was insane with all the crowd, and it was just incredibly warm and overwhelming. And then high-fiving Dave Castro like out of nowhere was just a pretty like big experience for me. It was strange. I mean, I didn't expect to be in the last heat, I think, but that was how it was seated, and we were a lot of women, 40 or 30, I think. Standing there was just pretty surreal because you've seen all these people like on YouTube and television, and they were just all there. And then starting is just surreal because you feel you're here and you're ready to go, but it's a whole different experience to anything I've ever tried before. I think I didn't really realize what I was actually doing. It was just starting another competition, but for me this is the biggest competition I've ever been to. I don't really have that much experience doing anything else. So starting the 400-meter run is just completely going blank, and then just trying to not panic. And I already felt like, you know, don't go too fast, don't die so soon. I think I was pretty concerned actually with sticking to a strategy. So I had thought it out in my head, and I was pretty keen on doing just that, sticking to plan. And then I didn't. I went out way too fast, but I felt everyone was, you know, cheering for me, and I could actually locate my Danish friends in the crowd, and it was, I think, way too much for me because I went on way too soon. Went up the rope again, I felt ready, and then I just didn't reach the top. And I think for me that's where I already felt like I failed, because it was never my intention to go to failure at any point. It's frustrating because I felt very capable. I felt I was able to show more than I actually got to put on the soccer field that day, that I hold a lot more potential than that. Because I am very strong in these events, like these exercises we're doing in the first event. So for me to sort of break down there was incredibly just heartbreaking. I think I pushed again too hard on the first part because I'm good at rowing, I'm good at push presses, but push pressing combined with the handstand walking in that type of heat, and again trying to go harder than I was actually supposed to go. I should have known that I needed more rest. I should have just trusted myself a bit more, I think, but I got way too excited, so I went for it. And then I was just tired. And I think I fell down like, I don't know, very like short towards the marker every time. Because I was basically devastated. I think I went out in the back and I cried a lot. I was just very disappointed and frustrated and also angry, I think. Just not, you know, just because I was so frustrated I didn't get to go on the next day again. So the feeling of this being over before it had even sort of begun, it was just one day. It's not what I had hoped for.
I started doing CrossFit back in 2010 when the first gym in my hometown opened. I did some different sports here and there. I did some kickboxing for about a year, MMA for about half a year, and I thought it was really fun, all these different types of sports which were really intense, but it didn't really catch my attention, and then I tried CrossFit. And then, as cliche as it may sound, it just got my attention and I kept doing it. In 2013 and 2014 I qualified as a team with CrossFit Aalborg, and then from there for 2015 till 18 I qualified as an individual. I had been doing a program that was very strength focused at that time, and back in 13-14, because I'd only been doing burpees and kettlebell swings and stuff like that, so I thought all I need to do is strength now. And I was wrong, because Open was all about the intensity, so I changed to the training plan back in 2014 at the end of the Open there, and then in 15 that really paid off and really it got me into shape, and I did much better in the Open. It's definitely been motivating, because I've always looked up to Frederick, and I've seen him compete at the games and thought I want to do that one day. And Frederick has always been a known person in the Danish CrossFit environment, because he started competing at which was a high level back then already from the beginning, and so everyone knew his name, and it's been fun following him and see what he's been doing and how he got to the games, and that's been inspiring for me as well. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've both been doing the training plan for many years, and every time, I mean, we've been doing some training camps together. A few times I've been to Iceland for the regionals, when there was the regionals. And yeah, for sure, he helps out if there's anything with tactics, or if I have there's always questions about like, what should you be doing, what should you be focusing on in this part of the season and so on. So sometimes it's cool to speak with him, and especially during the Open, we've been talking together about the workouts and how you should attack them and so on. My thoughts going into the Open was, I mean, my dream goal was to get to the games either through the Open or through a sanctional event. I knew it would be pretty tough for me, because my best placing at a regional has been 14th. So I thought, okay, you gotta reach high, but you have to reach high. So that's what I did, and then I really focused on my training this season compared to last year. I started working part-time instead of full-time. That really helped as well, getting more time to recover and to train, to focus on that. And I feel like, as I've said before, I've gotten to know my body a lot better. So I know when to push and when not to push, and what I actually need to train and what I do not need to train that much. And that has really helped, so I could feel that in the Open, in workouts I would usually not do that well in, I did pretty well in. You have to bring your A game on every single workout. Especially me, I'm not a specialist in any area of CrossFit, so I knew that I could not afford to get out of, or nobody can afford to get out of top 5, but it would be hard for me to not get out of, it would be hard for me to stay in top 5 in all of the workouts. So that also motivated me in the training this season, because I knew which workouts I wasn't in top 5 in the past years, so that's what I really needed to focus on, and that's what I did, and it paid off, and of course some of the workouts were also in my favor. You can clearly see that, the last few ones. But the first few ones I'm really happy with. Well, if you start with the first week, I actually got the flu there, and I was, I thought, okay, that was it. That was the Open for me this year, because I knew that if sorry?
What did you get?
I got 5th I knew if you got out of the top 3 or 4 in an open workout in Denmark, you wouldn't stand on top at the end of the open. And I got the flu, and I went to the doctor Monday, the last day of the open, and the doctor told me you have a virus and you shouldn't be training at all. And 2 hours later, I was out doing the workout because I had to do it that day. It was the last day, and I was really happy with my time and my performance, even though it wasn't like anything spectacular compared to other athletes. But I was really happy with it, and I thought, okay, I can't give up now, but it's going to be really tough the next few weeks if I need to get up on top of that leaderboard.
I really love being in the pool. It's like a place where I feel free. It's fun.
Does it give you like a sense of comfort and like coming home?
Yeah, it does. I think even though it's been, almost 10 years since I quit swimming, it's still very familiar.
Yeah.
I told you it was this pool I gained my first national title at junior national championship. I think swimming is definitely a sport where it's beneficial to have done it since you were a child, just because the feeling of the water and learning how to breathe properly and being comfortable in the water is very hard for other people to learn. So CrossFitters usually panic, and they usually try to do things very fast and very inefficient. My experience.
Yeah.
Klaus is actually pretty good. I mean, he's not built for swimming, he's very dense. So, and also he's rushing things a bit.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good.
How's it going?
It's okay. It's hard swimming.
Yeah.
I just think it's hard to keep being efficient in the water.
Yeah.
After some time. If the games were right now, yeah, that would stress me out. I haven't been swimming much. Also, I focused 100% on the open, and I didn't do any swimming in that period of time. But I mean, the plan is to do a lot of swimming up until the games. So hopefully it won't stress me as much.
After the games, I just had a period of a bit of rest, but still needing to maintain some training because I knew the Open was coming again soon. I decided mostly just to look onwards towards the World Championship in weightlifting, just to shift my focus a bit. And then during that training period, I was just very frustrated, like nothing was working. I was feeling sore, my body wasn't functioning like it was used to, like everything just fell apart.
Yeah, then the second workout came, and that was a workout. If you compare with the 20-minute AMRAP we had 2 years ago, where I didn't do that well on it, where I thought this is what I've been really training to do better in, these types of workouts. So I was pretty motivated to really like show that I've gotten better at this stuff, and I did. I did really pretty well in that workout. But then Frederick, he won it in the world, and then I thought, okay, Frederick is probably gonna take the win this year because he's far ahead.
And I cut myself in the hand with like a really sharp knife. And then I thought, okay, Open is over, because I need stitches in my hand. And I knew if the first workout had any sort of hanging in the bar, I would probably suck. So again, I cried a bit. But then I also, for the first time in my life, I think I just decided to not panic and then just go, okay, whatever happens, happens.
I think the third week we found out he got the penalty, and then of course, you know, it's Frederick's my friend, and I felt really bad for him because that must suck that you get this penalty, and it, you know. So.
But he also put you back in the game.
It put me back in the game, yeah, yeah. So I was, you know, I was happy because of that. But I still thought, well, there's still other guys that I need to beat, so it's still gonna be really tough. The score, I had a few points ahead of Andre. I think 1 point maybe, 1 point ahead of Andre, yeah. And I was still like, I'm a very skeptical person, so I was still like, no, it can't be, I mean, it's not 100% at all. And now that I've had 2 workouts I did well in, the last one can't be one that's gonna be a workout which I can win. So I was preparing myself mentally for the worst. And then the workout showed up with the muscle ups and the rowing and the wall balls, and I thought, shit. Wall balls and rowing is not something I would be the best in. This is gonna be really tough, and I need to fucking bring it if I want to win this. I had the advantage that I could lose to Andre as long as there was no one in between us. Then I would still win the Open in Denmark.
When did you know, like, okay, got this?
When they announced the final workout, it was everything I'd prayed for, I think, to finish the Open. And then I knew I had it. And I knew because I knew I was better at each one of those exercises in the workout compared to the girls I was competing against. Trouble is, in Denmark, it was only actually, not just the first workout, but there wasn't a lot of workouts where other people were putting themselves in between me and the other 2 girls I was competing against. So I couldn't really rely on that. I needed to win every single one almost from the first one. That's hard work also mentally. Not as excited as the first time, but still I was pretty amazed. I made it a second time, putting together everything 2019 has thrown at me. I've done it. So looking back, I feel insanely proud that I was able to pull myself together and rise from a pretty sucky downfall after the games.
There's so many rumors going on. You know, Denmark is a small country, and the CrossFit community is really tight or really close. So there's so many rumors about times and people saying, "Hey, you heard he got this," and so on. So I told myself actually quite early that don't listen to any times that you hear or anything, because it doesn't matter. And I know what I can do and what I can change in this workout and what I should try and how good I could do. So that's what I was focusing on. And then Sunday, actually, and usually I would go and do it Monday, the redo, and wait until Monday. But I thought, okay, maybe this needs 3 tries if my second strategy didn't work, because my second strategy was way different than my first strategy. I tried Sunday and it was shit. Sorry for my French. It was really fucking bad, and I was very disappointed. Went home really sad that evening and just thought, okay, that was it. Then I spoke with Yami from the training plan, and we came up with a different strategy. And I spent hours on this strategy, like really calculating how many seconds does this take, how many seconds can I save if I don't do that transition, and so on. And then at last I came up with a strategy together with him and some other friends as well. And so I went out to the gym, warmed up, started doing it, I had written all my tie break times up, or all the split times up, and I was keeping up a little bit ahead actually, and it worked out pretty well. And then I got to the last part where I wrote the last 60 calories at the end, and I knew if I held this pace, I would get the time that I wanted to get. Then I came after rowing, and I've never been that fucking happy. I was so happy, and I laid down for like 10 minutes. I couldn't get up. I was really exhausted, but I was so happy.
Event 1 in Dubai. Do you feel like you should have won?
Snatch, pull, and snatch complex. And then I'm going to do some front squatties. Going from 3 to 8 reps, going up and down in percentages. And then I'm going to do a quick deadlift session and then some upper body accessory.
Yeah, I don't think it's sunk in yet, but it's pretty surreal that I'm going to be standing out there with those guys that I've been, looking up to and watched films about and so on for the last many years. What keeps me going is just the hunger to get better, because there's some things that you can correct this a little bit if you do that, if you focus on that for some weeks, months, or whatever you need on that area. That really motivates me. I think my strength is my raw strength. So like deadlifts and squats and stuff like that, that really helps me out in CrossFit workouts. I can carry that over.
Jesus Christ. Spinal.
How's that?
That, I don't think it was too pretty, but I didn't get stuck anywhere, so it was okay. Definitely not gonna do any heavier than that.
Hot clean, split jerk, building up to somewhat heavy, depending on what my back allows, and then I'm gonna do some snatches. Also heavy but more reps and back squat, and I have some accessory work as well and some rehab exercise.
Are you the national champion in weightlifting?
I am in the minus 71 kilos for women. So I'm defending national champion. Actually in snatch, clean and jerk, and total as well. I think I've always believed that the mental aspect of training is the most important part, because you can work physically to a certain point, but if you're not able to keep a clear mind when competing, or really getting in the zone and letting things hurt, it's gonna set your limit. So it's the most important part to factor in your training and to factor in the way you look at things when you're trying to compete at anything, really. That's what I thought in swimming, and that's also what I think now. Because if you break down before an event, in the middle of an event, it's your head that's gonna break down, first.